Welcome to the Building Newfoundland and Labrador podcast, dedicated to exploring the interesting journeys of the people in the provincial construction industry. Presented by the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association, produced by Gale Force Winds. Join us as we chat with the inspirational individuals that ensure the continued growth of the construction industry and the province of Newfoundland and Labrador.
And welcome back to the Newfoundland and Labrador. That's a
Building Newfoundland and Labrador podcast.
take number 2.
Go. It's hard to get good help, Stephen.
It is. And welcome back to the Building Newfoundland and Labrador podcast. Here we are, Building Expo 2023. It is a great event we're having here. A lot of conversations happening here on the trade show floor. Certainly happy to have you on the show. I'm Alan Dale. With me, as always, my good buddy Jerry Cruz. Stephen, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Steve Thorne, President of Transfer Energy, a local energy efficiency company.
Steve, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you come from to get here?
So originally from Bishop Falls. I went to school at MUN and then took off for almost 2 decades. So I went from here to Calgary to California, where I met my wife.
Okay.
And then from there we both went to Thailand for about 5 years and then had both of our children in Thailand. And then came back for 2 years, then went to Indonesia and lived pretty much surrounded by jungle for about 3 years, and then came back just before COVID and then switched careers, and now I own Transfer Energy.
Wow, well, I'm glad I tapped into that journey.
Yeah.
That's quite a path to come on home.
It was, but a good path.
Yeah, I bet it was. What did you study at MUN?
Mechanical engineering.
So a mechanical engineer from MUN, find your way around the globe and back to Newfoundland. Tell us about Transfer Energy. What do you guys do?
So we look 1 to 5 years in advance of where the codes are going, policies going, figure out where the gaps in the market are, and then bring technologies in to fill that gap. And we like to do it early, become the leaders.
Right, so it's all about capturing energy in the home. How does that work?
So we have basically 3 major product lines. 2 are energy efficiency, and 1 is indoor air quality. So the big change in the codes now is to get the homes airtight, the buildings airtight. So we have a technology that works really, really well, where we pressurize the building, that forces air into the building and out through the leaks. Then we take a sealant and we turn it into a fog inside the building. The fog gets pushed into the holes and seals it all up. So I can be inside the building or outside the building, monitor it real time, it's all digitally controlled, and we're getting a 50 to 95% reduction in air leakage in 2 to 3 hours.
Wow.
You just blow my mind. Let me ask this question.
Yeah.
A fog goes into the home
Yes.
and seals, but how does it not, end up on the fireplace? Like, I don't get what you're saying.
There's a couple of places where we don't want the sealant to go, so we'll take those off. Fireplace would be one good example. Open plumbing would be another. But the fog gets carried with the air. The air is only going to go where there's a leak.
Right.
So it sucks that fog into the leak, pushes it in there, and fills that hole and seals it all off. 2 to 3 hours.
Fascinating.
2 to 3 hours, you create a positive pressure in the home, push all the air out,
Exactly.
fog it off, and then you seal the home up.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, of course, that keeps heat in.
It does.
Right.
It keeps condensation out of the walls. And then in a multi-family environment where you want to be separated from your neighbors, but you're sharing a wall, if you get a really good seal on that wall, then you're not going to get the smoke and odors and noise transmission either.
So how do you bring, I guess a pretty basic question, how are you bringing fresh air in? How are you introducing that into the home?
Into a home while it's being occupied?
Yeah.
That's done through the HRV. So there was an old kind of, almost wives' tale here of, you want a home to breathe. And somehow that a lot of holes in a home was a good thing. And that's really been replaced now with build tight, ventilate right. So it's the combination of the 2 that makes it really work.
Say that again. That
Build tight, ventilate right.
build tight. Is that yours?
That's not mine. No, I wish it was. I would have trademarked it. But that's the new industry motto now, and that's where everything's going. So the HRVs and the ERVs that we're already using, so they provide the fresh air into the home, keep the air nice and clean. You don't worry about mold and that kind of stuff inside the home. But then, so you're bringing air in on your terms. You're bringing it in a controlled fashion, controlled volume. You don't want it leaking excuse me, through leaky electrical outlets and holes around your attached garage where you're getting those smells and odors and pollutions.
Yeah. So okay. So is that service? That's one of your products. Is that service provided to large and small? Like, where does that fit?
Yeah. So we're doing single-family residential. We're doing multifamily, especially where you want sealed between each individual units for HVAC purposes and for the noise and odor purpose. We're doing big and small. We've done medium-sized warehouses, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
What other products?
So we have the sister technology, which is called AeroSeal, which does the exact same thing for ductwork. So you think about the millions of miles of ductwork probably in Newfoundland, maybe not millions of miles, a lot of miles of ductwork in Newfoundland. That stuff's really leaky, and it really hampers the performance of the duct system and the overall HVAC system. So we can pressurize the duct, inject the sealant, is a different sealant than the house, and seal that up in again in a couple hours.
So again, put positive pressure in the ductway, find where the leaks are, and seal that off.
Well, it does it automatically. So the air is finding, and the sealant gets pushed into the hole and fills it all up. So it's a one and done process. Little to no manual intervention.
Is this a new technology? Did you come up with this tech, or did
I wish I did.
Or did you bring it to Newfoundland?
This came out of Berkeley. So they started sealing ductwork about 20 years ago.
Okay.
And don't quote me on this number, but I believe they've sealed 250 million square feet of buildings, the ductwork within. Bill Gates, Branson, all these guys, through their breakthrough energy, have just piled a bunch of money in to accelerate the technology, not to develop it, not to fine-tune it. It's already there. Just make it go faster. And OGCI, which is the oil and gas initiative for climate, they've also put a bunch of money into this technology. So that's the Exxon, Chevrons, Equinors, Shells, BPs. They're all putting money into this because they want 1 gigaton of carbon emission reduction per year. So that's the equivalent of 2.5 million cars off the road.
Yeah, you might as well keep the heat and everything inside, right, as opposed to putting more in. So, any other products, or? So
the other thing that we're pioneering for Newfoundland really is radon. So radon's a naturally occurring gas that comes up out of the soil, and it unfortunately is very radioactive, and it causes lung cancer. So it kills more people than motor vehicle accidents, house fires, and carbon monoxide combined in Canada. So 3,200 deaths a year is what Health Canada reports. If you do Steve Thorne math on that, then that's about 100 a year in Newfoundland alone. So that's not an official Health Canada stat. So that's 2 people a week are dying from radon in their homes. So we're now certified to test. So we're the only active certified tester in the province, and then you got to fix it. So Newfoundland has never had a certified mitigator for radon. So we're 1 exam away, so 2 weeks away from being the only and first certified radon mitigator.
So I would assume a well-sealed home would not be concerned with radon, or?
Absolutely not. No, sorry, you're wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, it's every home needs to be tested. It's very random.
Right.
Do you have the source rock underneath your home? Yes or no? We don't know.
Right.
Are there cracks in your foundation that allow it to come up? We don't know. Does your HVAC operate in such a manner that it's creating a negative pressure and bringing that soil gas in? We don't know. So for the $65 or $70 it costs to test, it's the best insurance you can ever buy. Sure. Yeah, it's just a small little puck. It hangs in your house for 3 to 12 months, and then you're done.
Wow.
You'll get a number back from the lab, and then we can go from there.
That's an important thing to be doing.
Yeah, so Mike Holmes was on one of the social media channels talking about it, and I went to prove him wrong. I thought I'd go get the data and say this is not a problem for Newfoundland, and I found the exact opposite. Health Canada published the data about 10 years ago that said this is a major problem, even more so on the west coast of Newfoundland, and we're not doing anything about it. So here I am, way down the rabbit hole, but hoping to make an impact.
Now, you're a member of the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association?
I'm not.
You're not?
But I'm that's my next booth to go visit.
Well, this is fantastic. So you're leaving our booth and you're going to join the association?
Yeah, I'm a member of the Home Builders Association. Right. I'm on that board. But we're getting there for the Construction Association.
Well, tell me about the importance of associations to you as an independent company in the middle of capital.
It's very important. So where my business started, it made sense for me to start with the Home Builders Association. And it's meant the world. I mean, where else could I go and meet basically all of my customers, hear what their problems are, what their challenges are, and then go, oh, how can I fix those challenges? Right. That insight, sitting around, having a coffee, having a chat, at the board meetings or after the board meetings sometimes, that's where I get all the information I need to determine where I'm going with my business.
Stephen, it was a great conversation with you here today. I mean, not only are you on a journey to reduce our carbon footprint by making our homes much more efficient, but you're also on a journey, I would argue, to save lives. So
we're hoping to.
Well, thank you very much for what you do, and I look forward to following Transfer Energy over the next few years. And thanks for joining the Construction Association.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to the Building Newfoundland and Labrador podcast, presented by the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association, produced by Gale Force Winds.